You are standing over your garden at 7 in the morning with the hose running, and you already know you will be back tonight to do it again, because by afternoon the top of the soil is dust and the leaves are drooping. Your water bill went up $40 this summer, and half of what comes out of that hose evaporates off the surface before a single root ever drinks it. In the deserts of the ancient Near East, where it might not rain for months, farmers grew melons and cucumbers and grapes with almost no surface water at all. They buried a clay pot in the ground, filled it once, and the plants around it drank slowly for weeks. I watered my garden twice a day for years, like a man trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. Then a woman in Holmes County, Ohio, named Naomi Troyer, showed me a row of tomatoes she waters once every several weeks in the dead of August. She buries a $5 unglazed clay pot between the plants, fills it, caps it, and walks away. Her tomatoes never wilt, her water bill barely moves, and the whole method is described in the book of Genesis in the way the desert people of the Bible carried and stored water before any of us were born. Before I explain how it works, do something for me. Walk to your garden right now and push your finger 2 inches into the soil near a plant a few hours after you last watered. Is it still moist down there, or is it already dry? For most people who water from the top, the surface looks watered, but 2 inches down it is bone dry, because surface water mostly evaporates and never soaks in. Remember what you find, because the entire point of this method is to put the water where your finger just went and keep it there. And there is a study run in the desert decades ago that measured exactly how much water this clay pot method saves compared to a hose. The number is almost hard to believe. I will give it to you. Earn it first. Here's where it begins in Scripture. The whole world of Genesis runs on stored and carried water, not on rain. Genesis 24-14. The servant at the well says, "Let the young woman to whom I shall say, 'Please let down your jar that I may drink,' and who shall say, 'Drink,' and I will water your camels also." The Hebrew word there for jar is kad, an earthen clay vessel, and the entire culture of the patriarchs depended on these porous clay jars to carry and hold water through a dry land. Genesis 21:14, when Hagar is sent into the wilderness, Abraham gives her bread and a skin of water, and when the water runs out, she despairs in the desert until God shows her a well. Water in Genesis is precious, scarce, carried in clay, and stored against the dry days. These were people who understood, down to their bones, how to make a little water do a great deal. And the buried clay pot is the most elegant trick they ever devised. Now the mechanism, and it is so simple it feels like cheating. I call it the buried spring. An unglazed clay pot, the kind made of plain terracotta with no shiny coating, is not actually waterproof. The walls are full of microscopic pores. Fill that pot with water and bury it up to its neck in your soil, and the water does not gush out because the soil pressing against the outside of the pot holds it in. But here is the beautiful part. When the soil around the pot is wet, nothing moves. The water just sits inside. When the soil around the pot dries out, it begins to pull water through those pores by simple suction, the same way a dry sponge pulls water from a wet one. So the pot waters the soil only when the soil is thirsty and stops the instant the soil is satisfied. It is a self-regulating underground spring that responds to the plant's actual need, drop by drop, with zero waste and zero evaporation, because all the water is delivered below the surface, where the sun can never touch it. No timer, no electricity, no moving parts, just fired clay and the physics of a thirsty root. Let me paint the scene the way it actually looked, because it tells you how central this was to their survival. Picture a walled garden on the edge of a town in the Judean hills in high summer. There has been no rain since spring, and there will be none until fall. The man who tends it does not own a hose or a well. at the garden. He carries water in clay jars from the town cistern, and every drop is labor on his back. He cannot afford to pour water on the surface and watch the sun steal it within the hour. So he buries his porous jars among the vines and the melons, fills them when he makes his trip, caps them and lets the plants drink from underground for days at a time. One trip with the jars feeds the garden for a week instead of an evening. This was not a clever hobby. This was the difference between a harvest and a failure, in a land where water was carried by hand and counted by the drop. The reason we lost the method is simple. We got cheap water out of a tap and stopped having to be wise about it. Go do this 15-second test so you can feel the principle. Take any plain terracotta pot or saucer, the cheap reddish kind, and pour a little water into it. Then look at the outside in a minute or two. You will see the outside go dark and damp as the water weeps right through the wall. That is the pore network. That weeping is exactly what feeds your plants underground. Now, if the pot were glazed, shiny, sealed, the outside would stay dry and nothing would pass. So the one rule that makes or breaks this whole method is in that test. Unglazed only. The shiny pot is a bucket. The plain clay pot is a spring. Now, if you are thinking this is fine for someone with rows of melons, but you have 4 containers on a balcony or 1 small raised bed, this is precisely where the method shines. So stay with me. Buried clay pot watering was invented for small, intensive plots, not big fields, because each pot waters a circle only a couple of feet across. That is perfect for a raised bed or a cluster of containers. Naomi started with a single pot among 4 tomato plants before she ever scaled up. 1 pot, 1 bed, 1 weekend. The desert farmers ran their whole gardens on a grid of these pots, spaced a few feet apart. You can run a balcony on 3 of them. The smaller your space, the better this works, because you can reach every pot to refill it in 2 minutes. Here's the second verse. Because the principle of slow, deep, root-level watering runs straight through the Bible. Isaiah 58:11. And the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Read that as a gardener. A spring whose waters do not fail in a scorched place. That is the exact description of a buried clay pot in the heat of summer. A steady underground source that keeps feeding the roots while everything on the surface bakes. And there is a deeper truth in the agronomy here. Watering from the top, the way we all do, trains roots to stay shallow, near the surface where the water lands, which makes the plant weak and dependent and the first to die in a drought. Watering from a buried pot pulls the roots down and out toward the deep moisture, building a strong, wide root system that can survive dry spells on its own. God's picture of the watered garden is a plant fed from below, rooted deep, fed by a spring that does not fail. Modern irrigation science calls this subsurface watering and ranks it the most efficient method known. Scripture called it a blessing. Let me give you the second test, because diagnosing your own watering is half the battle. The day after you water your garden the normal way, dig a small hole 6 inches deep next to a plant and feel the soil at the bottom. Bone dry at 6 inches means all your hose water stayed in the top inch and evaporated, and your plant's deep roots are getting nothing. That is the silent reason gardens struggle in July even when you water every day. The buried pot fixes exactly this, because it releases water at root depth 6 and 8 and 10 inches down, where it actually feeds the plant and never sees the sun. There is something deeper happening to the plant itself that I want you to understand, because it is the real long-term payoff. When you water from the top every day, you teach the roots to be lazy. The moisture is always right there at the surface, so the roots never bother to grow down, and they spread out in a shallow mat just below the soil. That shallow plant looks fine in June, But the moment you miss a watering or a heat wave hits, the top inch dries instantly and the plant collapses because it has no deep roots to fall back on. The buried pot does the opposite. Because the water's down deep, the roots chase it downward, growing long and strong into the lower soil. Within a few weeks, the plant around a buried pot has a root system twice as deep as its neighbor, and that deep root system is drought insurance. Even if you forgot the pot for a week, that plant would survive on the deep moisture it learned to reach. You are not just watering the plant, you are training it to become tough. This is also why the buried pot does something a drip line never can. A drip emitter drips on a schedule whether the plant needs it or not, which often means it overwaters in cool weather, drowning the roots and rotting them, and underwaters in a heat spike when the schedule has not caught up. The clay pot has no schedule. It reads the soil. When a cool, rainy spell comes, the soil stays wet, the pressure equalizes, and the pot simply holds its water and waits, using almost none. When a brutal dry week hits, the parched soil pulls hard on the pores, and the pot pours out exactly as much as the plant is asking for. It is the only irrigation system that thinks, and it thinks because it obeys the same physics the desert farmers trusted 3,000 years ago. So here is the complete method, start to finish, for under $5. You need one unglazed terracotta pot, the plain reddish flower pot kind, and a way to plug the hole in the bottom, and a way to cap the top. Take the pot and seal the drainage hole in the bottom with a flat stone and a dab of waterproof silicone. Or simply press in a cork, because you want the water to leave through the walls, not drain straight out the bottom. Dig a hole in the center of your bed, or among a cluster of plants, and bury the pot up to its neck, leaving just the rim above the soil. Fill it to the top with water. Then, cap the opening with a matching saucer, a flat stone, or a tile to stop evaporation off the top and keep bugs and dirt out. That cap is what turns days of watering into weeks. If you cannot find a single deep pot, there is an even cheaper version the old-timers used. Take 2 ordinary terracotta flower pots, plug both drainage holes, and glue them rim to rim with waterproof silicone to make one sealed clay vessel, then bury that with a small refill hole left at the top. 2 dollar store pots become a buried spring that holds far more water and runs even longer. Plant your tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squash in a circle around the buried pot, within about 1.5 feet. Then your only job is to lift the cap every so often and top the pot back up in cool weather, or a small pot that might be every couple of weeks. In the worst heat with thirsty plants, every several days. A larger pot holds more and goes longer, which is how the desert farmers stretched a single filling toward a month and more. A few notes on getting the most out of it, because small choices double your results. First, on which crops. This method is made for the thirsty fruiting plants that suffer most in heat: tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squash, melons, and eggplant, all of which love deep, steady moisture and hate the wet, dry swing of hose watering. It works for almost anything, but those are the plants that will reward you most dramatically. Second, on spacing. One ordinary flower pot waters a circle about 1.5 feet across, so set your plants in a ring around it within that reach. If your bed is long, bury a row of pots a few feet apart, the way the desert gardens ran a whole grid of them. Third, and this is the trick that stretches one filling toward 40 days, pair the buried pot with a blanket of mulch on the surface. Lay straw or wood chips or leaves over the whole bed. The pot stops evaporation from below, and the mulch stops it from above, and between the two of them almost no water escapes at all. That combination, the buried spring plus the surface cover, is the closest thing a backyard gardener has to a sealed system, and it is exactly how the ancients squeezed weeks out of a single jar. Fourth, Before winter in a cold climate, dig the pots up or empty them because water left inside will freeze, expand, and crack the clay. Empty and dry, a good pot lasts for years. Let me give you the honest timeline. In one afternoon today, you can bury and fill your first pot. Within the first week, you will notice the plants around it stop wilting in the afternoon because for the first time, they are drinking from below. By a few weeks in, you will realize you have cut your watering trips by more than half. And across a full summer, the savings are dramatic, both in water and in your own time, because you are filling a pot in 2 minutes instead of standing with a hose every evening. A fail-safe, because there's one mistake that ruins it. If you fill the pot and the water level drops to empty, within a day, every day, your pot is cracked or the hole is not sealed and the water is draining straight out the bottom instead of weeping through the walls. Dig it up, reseal the bottom, and it will start holding for weeks the way it should. Everything I just showed you, the buried pot, the capped top, the spring that waters only when the soil is thirsty, is one piece of a much larger system. The complete biblical harvest system covers water, soil, pests, planting rotation, storage, and seed saving. Every protocol traced to a verse and confirmed by modern science. It costs under $51 to build at home and replaces more than $5,000 of modern garden engineering, including the drip systems and timers and pumps this one clay pot makes unnecessary. It is designed to deliver 600 pounds of food a year from 4 raised beds, $19 during the founder's launch. The link is in the description below. But before I give you the last piece, stay right here, because the desert study I held back at the start measured exactly how much water this clay pot saves, and the number changes how you will think about every hose in your yard. Researchers studying this method, which agronomists call pitcher-irrigation, ran trials in dry regions going back decades, including work in India and the Middle East, where farmers still use buried clay pots today. What they measured was this. Compared to watering from the surface, the buried clay pot delivered the same crop, or a better one, using as little as 1/10 of the water. Not 10% less, 1/10 of the total. A field that needed 1,000 gallons watered from the top grew the same harvest on 100 gallons from buried pots, because almost nothing was lost to evaporation or runoff, and every drop went straight to a root. And the oldest written evidence of this technique appears in a Chinese agricultural text, more than 2,000 years old, and the buried clay vessels themselves have been dug up across the ancient Near East, the very world of Genesis, where carrying and storing water in porous clay was the difference between a living family and a dead one. 10 times the efficiency, 2,000 years of proof, from a $5 pot the people of the Bible already knew how to use. So go back to that dry soil 2 inches down, the place your finger found this morning. This week, bury one clay pot, fill it once, cap it, and plant a circle around it. Then watch how long you go before you touch a hose. You will be watering your garden the exact way the desert people of Genesis watered theirs, from a spring whose waters do not fail. And one quiet thing worth saying, there is a piece to this method that the hose never gave me. No standing out there every evening, no guilt when you miss a day, no watching the water run off into the path. You fill a pot, you set the cap back down, and you trust the clay and the soil to do the rest, the way these people trusted them for 3,000 years. The garden takes care of itself, and you get your evenings back. Subscribe if you want the next biblical method, and tell me one thing in the comments. How many times a week are you watering right now, and how big is your garden? I read every one. The desert taught these people to waste nothing. We just forgot the lesson.